weather. That is not what I was expecting today. I thought this was going to be a package of red pens. But I remember ordering this now. Cheap cologne. So I think I finally made my decision to close the 181 after 31 years. And the principal reason is this: the P.O. Box lobby hours. Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. That's just not going to work for me anymore. So I haven't canceled it yet, but I did turn off auto renew. So I think I keep it until July. A little bit of sadness about this, but what am I going to do? It's just a mailbox, right? A photographer contacted me yesterday asking if I knew where to find vestiges or evidence of a place where a payphone used to be, but it's been removed. So I went outside. I thought I'd play ball. I went outside thinking I'd find like a few concrete smears that I know about near my place. But I ended up being outside for like 2.5 hours. Remember, every single one I would find, like, oh wait, there's another one across the street, and oh wait, there's 3 in a row, or there used to be 3 in a row at this other spot. So I sent him a bunch of photos he seemed to appreciate, but I didn't give him any exact locations. I just gave him tips on what to look for, and just be sure you know what you're looking at. This is my favorite type of vestige. It looks like a screaming face, screaming with a teardrop. But that sound-absorbing surface makes my eyes cross. So I sent him this one, or I will send him this one, or maybe I won't. I don't know why I feel obligated to respond to reporters all the time. I certainly don't get anything in return for it. That sucker works. I'll go ahead and do my thing, since I have some quarters on me this time. First quarter went straight through. There it is.
I'm just coming out of the subway.
I actually started listening in on the radio a couple of nights ago when I thought I had reason to think it wasn't working, but it was working. I was just listening to it and I'm like, this is actually a pretty cool station. Probably a unique concept, right? I hadn't really tuned in in probably a few months. I only ever tune in just to make sure it's working, but this time I actually was paying attention and I'm like, yeah, this is different. This is unusual. And before I go, I'll put in another 50 cents. That'll keep this sucker running for a half hour. Someday somebody's going to pick up that handset and they're going to be magically transported into a new and wonderful realm. happens. The unlimited card, I think it's 17 or 18 minutes before you can use it again. And there's no timer. It doesn't tell you how much time you have to wait. I'll be honest, the idea of taking pictures of these things, the vestiges, it had entered my mind recently. But I just thought it seemed so predictable. I've done it before, but I don't think I've ever done much with it. And the person who's going to do this is more like a fashion photographer. So I guess they tried to find somebody that would beautify the unbeautifiable. Right, you can still see the markers, the echo. There used to be one here. There used to be one here. Oops. And there were others, I'm sure, but I remember these. I take note of these anytime I pass through here. So I mentioned, I guess I've been talking to them for a few months now, but I made some new payphone friends, and their writing looks to be a pretty comprehensive piece. Oh, look at this. It's weird looking. They're writing a pretty comprehensive piece in which I guess I'm going to be referenced. And it's for a major paper. And they say that the official word is that these are the last two of the outdoor street phones that are owned by City Bridge. And if you paid any attention to this YouTube channel, you know that's not even close to true. But according to City Bridge, these are the last ones. And so I don't know how they're going to cover this. If they're actually just going to take City Bridge's word for it. Because I told these guys that that's not true, and it's obvious. And I've proven it time and time again that there are plenty of other of these street phones moldering away out here. But remains to be seen. I never know how these articles are going to turn out, or not usually at least. Just thought the little openings were kind of fun. Like spy on somebody. All you have to do is say you were talking on the phone. I wasn't staring at you, I was talking on the phone. That's right, and this one has the barcode. That is the former Time and Life building, where I spent many happy years working for Time Inc. All good memories, but I wouldn't want to do it again. They got rid of the fountains that used to be out here, replaced them with these much smaller ones. But like, I think maybe a quarter of this whole surface over to the street used to be fountains. used to be my office. The big corner suite up above that blue sign. I never felt I deserved it. The apartment was bigger than, it was bigger than, I think, my first 2 or 3 apartments in New York combined. That's probably about right. It was probably about the same size as the first 3 apartments combined. And it was just ridiculous. That was how corporate entities like Time Inc. retained people during the .com thing, when startups were giving out billions and billions of dollars worth of options that mostly evaporated. Well, there used to be some phones here, but this has all been very much repaved. But not so much elsewhere on 6th Avenue. I think you'll still find vestiges, if I remember right. Yep, that was my office. I would talk to Time Inc. friends years after I left that place, and the subject of my conspicuously enormous office would always come up. Okay, well, I'm not going to be able to get close to this one because there's a food truck on top of it. But you can see the white stain, the white smear between those 2 pipes, or those 2 poles. Oh, come on, cabbie, get out of the way. Yeah, that white stain, or that white smear on the sidewalk, that's where the payphone used to be. And that's as close as I'm going to get to it. And sometimes they get it all done perfectly clean. There used to be 2 of them here. But in this case, they cleaned up after themselves pretty efficiently. Few people would guess that there used to be a public communication structure here. So on this side, I think there actually used to be 3 here. But that's just going on memory. It doesn't look like there were 3, but something has to explain why there are 4 of those metal poles and not just... So I think there were 3, and they were held up by two bases, and one of them left more of a stain behind than the other. The one on the left, the one on the right is just represented by some little spikes, what's left of them. This is great, isn't it? A tour of some concrete smears on city sidewalks. Am I a hot date or what? Doing this makes me realize, I already knew this, but it reminds me that whenever I walk anywhere and I see these things, in my mind it's like a Tourette's-like tick, where an image, a vision of the payphone that used to be here rises up in my mind. This one was always filthy, and it had a great phone number. I forget what it was exactly, but it ended in 2 zeros. So it was like 212-255-2500 or something like that. It's like, what a desirable phone number. It was actually phone numbers like that led one of those early voice-over IP companies, I can't think of which one now. Oh, it's Vonage. It was Vonage that all these 212 numbers that were being soaked up by Verizon for all these dead payphones. Vonage sued to get access to them so that they could get the 212 area code numbers for some of their customers. I don't know if they intended to charge a premium for those numbers or what, but because people get pretty wanky about the 212 area code. I guess I do too. Maybe I try to deny it, but at my job, I take calls all day, and when a call comes in from a 212 area code number, I kind of sit up And I think this is either going to be an elderly person who's had that number a very long time, or it's going to be a business. More often than not, it's an elderly person or a very old person, somebody very established. And I was just saying before, my camera battery so rudely dried up on me, and the camera turned off. I was about to say that I even recognize, I didn't think I had them memorized, but the old telephone exchange names, I recognize a lot of them when a 212 call comes in, and it's like, oh, look at that, he's calling from the Plaza Exchange, or he's calling from the old Oregon Exchange. Because I'll see the 212 number, and just all that little bit of code just automatically triggers in my head. But anyway, this was supposed to be the signature signal that a payphone had been removed, and it's I don't know what you call it, but it's a reflection of the lack of momentum that the Link NYC program ended up having. These yellow mats were there just as placeholders, even though I don't know why they needed that, why they needed these placeholders, because it's not like they broke ground underneath them. You know, they didn't break ground for the fiber or the infrastructure for the Link machine that was supposed to be here. They just put these yellow mats there. I guess it was just to be a visual reminder. But a lot of these things have disappeared. They come unconnected to the sidewalk. And they just, after, I don't know, maybe around the pandemic, they just stopped putting them down altogether. That sounds as loud on the video as it felt in person, but that was really loud. So this is what a payphone removal is supposed to look like, or at least was supposed to look like for a while. I don't know why they don't get rid of the poles, but I guess in this case, if they thought they were going to put a Link machine here, I guess maybe they thought it was worth keeping. I don't know. There is one vestige that I realized, and I just never get around to addressing this, but the payphones that were in the subways, most of them at least, were replaced by these things, these emergency information boxes, help points. I have actually seen people use these for legitimate purposes, but mostly it seems like people just press the button as a joke. But it is, I was at a station up in the Bronx once, and it was like 100 degrees outside, and no train had come for like 40 minutes. And somebody was just like screaming into one of these help point boxes, trying to inform whoever was on the other line that something bad was happening. But anyway, this help point is almost certainly on the exact spot where a payphone used to be. So they did get rid of the phones down here, but they at least gave you this as an option for emergency contact. You can sort of see a hole there where the phone would have been mounted. These are quite literally on the spots where payphones used to be. I'm not at all surprised to report that this phone is dead. It was alive last time I was down here. This is the 6th Avenue Bryant Park station. I think last time I was here I deduced that it had dial tone and it sounded good, but it didn't actually connect your call. Now it's dead, and I suspect that's the way it's going to stay. Doesn't mean I can't put my card on it, though. Would you look at this? They got rid of this one that was here, also here last time I was here. That's a pretty, that's a different looking vestige. Those metal screws, long metal screws with the covers. That's the first vestige of a payphone I can remember that looks like this. And I think this is the pipe where they brought in the landline cable, the copper landline. At least I guess that's what this is. I don't know what else it would be. Yeah, there was a phone here just a couple of weeks ago, so somebody had enough of it. So there used to be two of them here on 42nd Street. I just remember these because they were back to back. They were the Janus style, and they were very close. I'm thinking they were even closer than this to this newsstand. I think there used to be some other stuff here that made the one on the right really difficult to use. But there you go, though. It's just a little bit more forensic evidence. Of a payphone gone. So these two had been dead a long time before they finally got removed. This is 42nd Street.
From your smartphone. Download the free app today.
Granddaddies of vestige sightings. Forensic evidence of a payphone past. Probably the most you'll find under one roof is here at Grand Central Terminal. I think I might have chosen the wrong passage though. There's a cool one where they have a row of, I think, 10 metal plates where the phones used to be, but then there was one survivor. I mean, it doesn't work, of course, but there was one remaining phone that, for whatever reason, they didn't yank out, and it holds a maybe semi-unique place in the history of the payphone. It was the 30-second phone, where you could make a call anywhere in New York State, except for the 5 boroughs of New York City, and the call was only good for 30 seconds. And this was just a way for commuters to call their wives at home to let them know that what train they were going to be getting, so that they would be able to pick them up. And I think I chose the wrong passage for that, but now you'll know what I'm talking about when I find it. Aha, I was closer than I thought. I did choose the right passage. So here you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 metal plates where there used to be phones, and 2 of these spots are still occupied. The one on the end is a terminal police phone, Grand Central Terminal Police. You don't even want to pick that up because it'll go connect you straight to the police. But this is the famous 30-second call phone, famous to me at least. And somebody duct taped it to keep the handset in one piece. And you can see here where it says the 5 boroughs are blocked out. You can't call the 5 boroughs from this phone. Well, you can't call anybody from this phone now, but in its heyday, you couldn't use this phone to call within the 5 boroughs, only the rest of New York State. I guess not Connecticut or New Jersey, though. But what I'm really looking for today, of course, are these things. And you'll see probably, I don't know, 40 or 50 of these throughout the terminal, maybe even more. A lot of the phones that got removed don't have these. A lot of the phones that were removed were covered by advertising, display advertising panels. But I guess this is not a real valuable stretch of real estate in terms of advertising eyeballs. And there again, they did get rid of the phones and everything, but they did provide these emergency phones. But the 30-second phone is a cool little footnote. And also of note, you'll see there was always one of these on one end or the other that was lower than the others. And that was for Americans with Disabilities Act compliance, ADA compliance. This one might have even had a TTY, the lower one. Those were also required in transit hubs and arenas and concert venues and places like that. TTY had to be provided if there were payphones present. I was saying that this passage wasn't much for advertising dollars, advertising eyeballs, but looks like somebody thought it was at one point. Look at all these empty advertising panels. They were on the complete length of the passage. And I do remember being carpet bombed by ads for, I think, some kind of security camera for a while. Anyway, this may not be much for advertising dollars, but it's a nice quiet place to make a phone call, unless you happen to have a loudmouth yammering away next to you, which you probably always did. Yeah, there's another ad panel gone. There's a bunch more of these down on the lower level and on the other passages, but I'm not going to go all. I've already documented those. I'm not going to do that all over again. But I will show you where ad panels replaced a bunch of them, leaving no vestige whatsoever. That elevator up ahead, you take that down, and there's another row of those metal plates, and I think just one Verizon phone remaining, with an emergency police phone. It's very quiet down here. This is no place for rabbit hunting. Okay, so these 6 ad panels replaced, I think it was 12 in a row. 12 payphones. And if you look at if I can dig up an old photo of it, I'll stick it in here, but aesthetically speaking, I can't disagree that this is a huge improvement over a bunch of old, moldering away payphones, and I can totally see why the terminal would want to get rid of them, but they did wait a long time to do that, but I think that was because of the long-term contract with PTS. Anyway, I looked at the wall up close. I didn't find any obvious vestige, except maybe this hole in the wall, but it seems kind of high, but maybe not. That might have been some part of mounting one of the enclosures, but I don't know. there is this one phone. It's been dead for a few years now. The TTY is gone too. It's in the station master's office. I don't like to go in there because they look at me weird when I take out my camera and I don't have a ticket. This is a ticketed waiting area. But that sucker doesn't work. But this was maybe the last phone that I can remember where I had to hurry up to end my call because some cranky looking person was waiting for me to free up the phone so she could make her call. That happened, that was just pre-pandemic. This wasn't like a generation ago. So people would still use these things if they could. So where these two info screens are now, this was where what was at one time the busiest payphone in New York, as far as my available information could affirm. The busiest payphone in New York got yanked out and replaced with these. I used to use these phones a lot because they sound so good. The landline quality is like there's not been equaled. Although if you try the WhatsApp app, the phone calls on that actually sound pretty good. Landline quality almost. But I used to use these a lot, and there were a couple of times where people would see me and they'd be like, "Payphone? What the hell is that? Who the hell uses a payphone?" And I heard these comments, but it's all good. I just realized I forgot to put my radio card on the 30-second phone. Oh well. Oh look, my card is still here from whenever the last time I was here was. I don't think this has been that long. I think I might have been here on Sunday. Today's Wednesday. But here again, you got the row of metal plates where the phones used to be and the long shorty for ADA compliance. But down this way, this might be the longest row still around. The longest still surviving, not covered by display advertising. And I lost count of this, and it makes my head spin trying to count. I think it's 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, it's 12. But that's probably the most vestiges in one row that you're going to find in New York. I meant to also add that there are a lot of these at Penn Station too, downstairs in the LIRR corridors. I don't think there are this many in a row though. So we talk about vestiges. where a Verizon sign hangs over like a phantom. The spot where there must have been probably 2 payphones. I bet you come back in here in 25 years, that sticker might still be there.
I'm sorry.
Well, maybe not 25 years, but 5 years.